I was about 25, 26 years old back then. Young blood, plenty of nerve, and a brand new job, postmaster in a small village out in Vermont. When I left the city and first set foot in that village, Ashford Hollow, I had no idea that decision would open the door to the most terrifying experience of my life. I rented a small bungalow right next to the post office. And in that house, I wasn't alone. I had a companion, a stray dog named Charlie. Charlie had been taken in by the postmaster before me. When he got transferred and moved on, he couldn't take Charlie with him, so Charlie was left with me. Charlie was, to put it plainly, the most timid dog in the whole village. He'd tuck his tail and bolt at the sight of other dogs. Sometimes, if a cat so much as looked his way, he'd run and hide under the bed in pure terror. Honestly, back then, I used to tease him about it. I had a hobby of my own, too, bird hunting. I owned a licensed shotgun, and every weekend I'd sling it over my shoulder and head out to the woods and wetlands nearby.
Late winter. One day I heard from a mail carrier at the post office that a lake near a village about 30 miles away had suddenly filled up with ducks that season. The moment I heard it, my heart jumped. The village was called Black Pine Hollow, a small settlement 30 miles from Ashford Hollow, tucked deep in the woods. From that day on, all I could think about was, when's the weekend getting here? Finally, Saturday came. Early that morning, I packed some light food, my shotgun, and Charlie, and set off on my bicycle. Charlie was my constant companion. He'd hop right up onto the back carrier of my bike like it was his own personal seat. It was a long ride, so I needed to make good time. The plan was simple. Get to Black Pine Hollow, stay at the local postmaster's quarters for the night, have a bite to eat, then head out for the hunt after dark. By the time I actually got there, it was already evening.
When I reached Black Pine Hollow and told the local postmaster I was planning to go duck hunting at the lake that night, his face changed instantly. Some fear he couldn't quite explain, made him refuse to come with me. Not only that, he tried, more than once, to talk me out of going at all. Looking back on it now, I think that man knew something he just couldn't bring himself to say out loud. But I was young back then, stubborn. After I pushed and asked again and again, he finally gave in and pointed out the lake to me from a distance, somewhere deep in the woods.
The moon was bright that night. In its silver light, the surface of the lake shimmered from far away. The quacking of ducks drifted through the air. Along the edge of the forest, there were clusters of small, thin bushes. Under that moonlight, the ducks kept lifting off into the sky, circling and settling back down on the water. It was the perfect night for hunting. I had the dun slung over my shoulder, Charlie trotting beside me, and we started making our way deeper into the trees. Everything felt completely normal, right up until the moment it wasn't. We'd only gone a short distance when Charlie suddenly stopped dead in his tracks. He wouldn't take another step. He just kept making this strange, high-pitched whimpering sound. I had a feeling he'd seen something. I switched on my flashlight and scanned the area. Nothing at all. I had never, ever seen him act like that before. Not this dog, not the one who was scared of house cats. I kept moving forward. I felt water under my boots. I knew I was close to the lake now. But by then, Charlie had become a whole new problem. He absolutely refused to go any further. He just stood there, facing forward, making a sound like he was trying to tell me something, over and over, like he was begging me, "Don't go any further." Then Charlie grabbed the fabric of my pant leg in his teeth and started pulling me backward.
I pulled free of Charlie's grip and looked ahead. And that's when I noticed something impossible. It looked like a violent storm had broken out in the trees, right along the lake's edge. But there was no wind, not even a breeze. The leaves were shaking violently, the bushes thrashing around like something inside them was tearing them apart. And yet, there was no sound of wind at all. Total silence, except for that motion. I raised my gun and started moving forward. Charlie stood behind me, wailing now, a sound of pure terror.
And that's when it happened. A blast of scorching hot air slammed into me like a wall. Some force I couldn't explain, couldn't see, seemed to be pulling me deeper into the trees. My legs kept moving forward, but it wasn't me making that choice anymore. I still don't fully understand what happened to Charlie in that moment. He threw off every trace of fear he had, pushed past me, and charged straight into the woods ahead of me. I switched on my flashlight and started searching for him. A few moments later, something started moving through the shallow water and mud, deeper in the trees. Something I couldn't see. For the first time that night, I heard something in Charlie's voice besides fear. I heard rage. He was fighting, alone, against something that had no shape, no form, something invisible. A wave of pure dread rolled down my spine. I didn't stand there another second. I turned and ran. After that, I don't know what happened. To this day, I don't know what happened back there in those woods.
The next morning, I went back to that spot, and I found Charlie lying there, dead. That night, Charlie saved my life. My timid little dog, the one who used to run and hide from a house cat, didn't back down that night. Not from whatever that thing was out there in the dark. He gave his life to save the man who used to laugh at how scared he was of everything. Even now, all these years later, I still don't know what was really out there in those woods that night. I don't know what was pulling me toward the darkness. But there's one thing I know for certain. Courage isn't about never being afraid. It's about standing your ground for the ones you love, even when you're terrified out of your mind. Charlie taught me that night. What do you think was really out there that night? Let me know in the comments. And if this story gave you chills, hit subscribe, because more true horror stories like this one are coming very soon.